Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Broadway Jets YouTube channel. You'll know me from Twitter as NYJ Mike. I'm joined as always by the master of receipts, NYJ Matt. And Matt, the offseason is nearly upon us. Busy week of the Jets news. Jamal Adams was released. We found out last week that Mecole Hardman's a traitor. Aaron Rodgers said he wants to play 4 more years. We got a mailbag full of questions. I'm fired up. Ready to go, baby. Come on.
Ready to go. And we made it through the dead period. So the time between the
Yeah.
Super Bowl to free agency is such a dead time in the NFL. And we were like 5 days away from legal tampering. So very,
Yeah.
very pumped that we're through it.
It's
And
pretty short, Matt, too. It's pretty short for,
yeah,
compared to most sports.
it went by pretty quick. But the other thing, and the Mecole Hardman stuff is more old news right now.
Yeah.
But I do need to say, it is not being talked about enough that he potentially, when you cheat in sports, all the cheating scandals outside of like 1919 was to give your team a better chance to win.
Yeah.
And he did the opposite. And I
Good.
love Kansas City Chiefs Twitter telling me that I'm going to get it arrested or sued for libel. Like, that would be the greatest thing for my personal brand and for our brand in general is if Mecole Hardman sued me for libel. I hope it
You're
happens.
in court versus Mecole. I was talking to my buddy about it. He was like the state of New York versus NYJ Matt, like a Supreme Court case.
I hope it happens. It'd be great. And hey, if you are here, don't forget, if you want to hit subscribe, like, comment, you don't have to, but if you like us on Twitter, helps out a lot. Mike, Mecole Hardman, old news, but I don't know how it's not being talked about enough. Like, it is insane. And Connor Hughes, like a source guy, believes that the Jets believe it happened, which is crazy.
Dude,
The
it's
NFL
really
is
bad. What and like think about all the money that's gambled on these games and like the ramifications that come with one NFL game. You win or lose a certain game in the NFL, you could change your season, it could change people's careers. Like it's actually way bigger of a deal. I don't know why it's not a national story.
the NFL doesn't want it to be true. That's the other thing. They don't want to investigate it because if it is true, it's like
Yeah.
fuck. And the reason the Jets didn't want it out, and I think the Jets did not want it out, and Sauce Gardner tweeted about it, is it doesn't look great on your team that you got a guy in free agency, paid him whatever. How much was the 1 year deal?
$4.5 million or whatever.
1
Not that
year,
they ended up paying him all that, but yeah.
yeah, 1 year, $5 million, and like your game plans leaked to the opponent. Like you don't want that on your face from a
Yeah.
Jet standpoint. So Sauce Gardner and Kenny Yeboah tweeted out, and now it's free game.
Yeah, Kenny. I just don't know why. It doesn't even make sense. Like, what happens? The Chiefs, if he leaked the game plan to the Chiefs, fine. Which, of course, not fine, but like, I get it. But what happened? They said return punts. He was like, no, my finger hurts. And then he gave the Eagles the Jets game plan. Like, what the, what the fuck? Why would he do that?
It's crazy. It's crazy. And then the other news you brought up, Jamal Adams being released, and then who did I just
Listen.
make a coming home video for?
Oh,
Foley Fatukasi.
Foley, which would actually be a good signing. The Jets need a fat defensive tackle to replace Al Woods, who died in like week 8.
Mike, can I just say I hate if you gave me a red pill and a blue pill, and the red pill is eternal wealth and happiness for me and my entire family, and the blue pill is I never have to make a coming home video ever again, I would take the blue pill immediately. I hate making coming home videos so much.
Dude, you
And
ended it, and then you made one.
I feel so bad letting down 25 to 30 people replying to me and being like, "Where is the video?" And I think it's funny how quick I can turn them around. And I force myself to do it. And it always happens at the worst time, like going into a meeting. I'm like, God damn it. But yeah, I will never make a Jamal Adams coming home video.
No, never make a Jamal Adams one.
It'll never happen.
Dude, we don't root poorly on people. We don't wish poorly, which probably is not true. I'm sure we have, but we don't. We don't.
We do.
But Jamal Adams celebrated when he left the Jets. He smoked a cigar after saying that he was depressed because the Jets went 7-9, and then he smoked a cigar in our faces, and now he sucks. And I'm glad he's released.
So, sometimes we overcomplicate it. He's just an asshole. Like,
Yeah.
plain and simple. He is. And we all grew up with people like that. We all went to school with people like that. He's just a cocky asshole. And he wasn't. But when you're in a profession for as long as you are, so maybe you fool people for a year or 2 years, your true colors will always show. And he's an asshole. And I'm thrilled that he's not on the Jets and he won't ever be on the Jets again. Very cool.
Nice report from Connor too.
Yeah.
Saying just straight up, Jets have no interest in bringing him back after Jamal Adams made those weird comments about Connor's wife.
Yeah, he hung on the rim a bit. I like it. You're a little blurry. He'll bounce back. It always comes back.
It's like a drinking and driving simulation. This is what the road looks like if you have too many drinks.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jamal's gone. The Jets do need like 2 safeties. So Ashton Davis and Chuck Clark could be those guys, but
yeah,
I think Chuck Clark is going to come back, Matt, based on the fact that the first safety that Joe Douglas acquired, who tore his ACL in preseason, was LaMarcus Joyner, and then Joe Douglas just re-signed him the next year. So I think he'll bring back Chuck Clark. But anyway,
yeah, we're gonna do a full free agency breakdown pod. We'll probably get Connor on, even though I tweet about it every time I tweet out the link. I'm like, Connor Hughes joins and talks about whatever, and he joined like twice ever. So we'll get Connor on.
Connor Hughes.
Yep. So we'll try to get him on, but we got 25 replies that we can go through. We'll try to keep it to like a minute, rapid fire, what the people brought up on Twitter and what we want to talk about.
It was first, real quick, the Rodgers said he wants to play 4 years.
He said he can play 2 to 4 more years depending on health, but that 4-year mark is like hilarious to hear, and it puts everything in perspective. When he went down week 1, the reason we were devastated, 1, the season's likely over, but 2, like, are we never going to see him play like a full game? Like, is that going to happen? And he of course very quickly was like, I'm not done yet, right?
Right, because we said before the season last year, the only chance Rodgers doesn't play a couple years is if, 1, he wins the Super Bowl and rides off into the sunset, which is fine, or 2, if he gets a brutal injury and then he immediately gets a brutal injury and you're like, oh no, it's like the worst possible injury. I guess unless he has like a neck injury or yeah. So
yeah.
know. But yeah, we were joking now that Joe Douglas is going to try to build long term again and not go all in this year, because now Rodgers is locked in for 4 years. It's like a presidential term.
Dude, Joe Douglas is on year 6.
That's 6.
Like 20% of our lives are Joe Douglas era. That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's probably more. How old are we?
We're about to be 30.
Holy
coming
shit.
up on 28, 20.
We're 30 years old.
It's over 20%. And here's the thing.
25%. That's been Joe Douglas is our GM.
It's funny too. So there's a tweet about, would you trade up for Joe Alt? 7, 8, 9 range.
Yeah.
And I do think the Giants are going to take a quarterback. Everything that's coming out of there is like potentially quarterback, fuck Daniel Jones, and the Patriots are likely taking a quarterback too. So now you're opening up the window if maybe the Titans want to get faster, like their GM said, and they don't take a tackle. And maybe the Chargers want to take.
Hard to get faster if you take an offensive lineman.
You're right about that. So if Alt goes to 7, 8, or 9, I get the concept of, hey, like if Fuaga's there at 10, if you like Latham at 10, if Olu falls to 10, just keep your assets in the future and take the best guy there, put them at right tackle, sign a left tackle, and get moving. But Mike, I'd make the argument that multiple times now Douglas in his career has moved up to get the guy that he wanted, and it's worked out for him in most cases, right? AVT stays healthy. We know he's a big-time player. Moved up for Breece Hall, right? So
Denzel Mims, sorry. I know he moved back, actually. I know he
back from Mims.
Oh, that doesn't count. That's
so here's my take. The 1 year he moves back, he misses out on potentially Broderick Jones, which the Jets allegedly weren't in on, but
it makes no sense. But yes, agreed.
So I think I could see them moving up because, Mike, maybe Fuaga is a very good tackle in the future, a good tackle, but maybe it takes him 2 to 3 years to get to that ceiling of being a good tackle.
Yeah.
Where all year 1 could potentially be like a Pro Bowl and then 3 years being all pro. What Joe Douglas needs now is the best guy in the field. A second-round pick to move up 3 spots next year sucks, but we also lived our entire life without having a second-round pick as a Jet fan, which in theory kind of contradicts itself because they didn't make the playoffs during that era, so maybe they need a second-round pick. Regardless, everyone they took up until Breece Hall and Joe Tippmann have been garbage. In the second
round. Don't talk about Marcus May like that. How dare you?
2017.
The Jets have the horrific second round pick. Probably it has to be the worst ever history of any franchise. Famously, before none of these guys might have made the Pro Bowl. So the last Jet second round pick to make the Pro Bowl is, do you know? Jet trivia. It's a special teams guy. Technically a cornerback, kick returner.
Say it.
Justin Miller.
Oh,
second round pick. Yeah, Mike Westhoff special.
Jesus Christ. Well,
Yeah, David Harris was also a second round pick, but never made a Pro Bowl, which is stupid. So that would be the next guy that was.
Mike, if I'm a betting man, if you put money on an option, I think the Jets trade up in the first round and just get a guy that's going to help them right now this year. And Joe Douglas, why the fuck does he care about a 2025 second round pick if he's not going to be here if they don't make the playoffs anyway? Like that is a real possibility.
I'm fine with it. But you have to have so much conviction that one guy is way better than the other, because my hesitation is in filling. We've talked extensively on this program about the Jets only have a few needs this offseason, and they have the assets to do it. And I never factored in using anything other than just one first round 10th overall to get one of these rookie offensive linemen. So if you were to if one of these receivers do become available that are probably not available, like Devontae Adams or Justin Jefferson or whoever down the line, you hear a big name come out, or if the Jets want to trade for anybody, you're going to have to give up future assets because you don't have that many draft picks this year. And if you use a second round pick next year to trade up to get a tackle, when you are going to get a tackle anyway, it's got to be substantially better, in my opinion. And maybe that is Joe Alt. It seems like he's that kind of prospect, but who the fuck knows? So that scares me. Because you leave yourself a little high and dry.
Yeah, it's not fun.
And I'm not worried about picking a guy next year. I'm worried about using that capital to help this year.
Definitely. Yep. All right. Can we get a status of the State of the Union on Jets Twitter? I think what he's referring to is like the aggregator accounts. And also I feel like a lot of Jet fans now are, I don't know about tweeting, like a very pro Zach Wilson take of like some Jets Twitter accounts are bring back Jamal Adams. I don't think it's clickbait. I think they actually want that. And I actually appreciate they put their opinion out there. I think the worst type of accounts are the ones that either regurgitate what's already being reported. Like Uzama gets cut today. Yeah. I don't tweet the Jets release Uzama per whoever. Like I tweet, wow, he was unbelievably disappointing with 3 touchdowns in 2 years. Like give a take an opinion.
Yeah. I think Jets Twitter is great. I think it's just the slow season. And also I'm sure we asked this question before last year, and it was like, what is going to happen if like the Jets don't play well this year, as in last year? And they went to it, then it's like, God, I don't know. I guess people will just tweet about Zach Wilson and like Jamal Adams, but what it is what it is. People got to do something because listen, if this was a normal franchise and your quarterback gets hurt last year, you're like, all right, we have a first round pick, we got a lot of money. We have an older quarterback, good defense. Let's fire it up for 2024. But it's been 13 years since the playoffs, so people get frustrated a lot faster, and I get it. People are just in a weird headspace. But we need the draft. We need free agency. We need some OTAs. We got to see Rodgers throwing the ball again. We're going to feel good. Things are good.
Things are good, Mike.
Things are really good, Matt. This is the best the Jets. Again, same thing as similar to last offseason. In all seriousness, this is the best spot the Jets have been in a long time to compete for a championship. So
hard to argue it. Vibes are going to get back high because I think they're going to sign Calvin Ridley. So
I don't know if I want to give him $20 million.
So all right, I think we have a Ridley question coming up.
But play a couple
thoughts on Huff, Bryce Huff, Will. I love how you called him Will. Can Will McDonald replace his role? Is Huff worth the money? Look, I think we've talked about Huff a lot.
Can Billy reprise his role?
I think we've talked about it a lot. We just wish they did it earlier, like the JFM type contract before he like explodes and has an unreal year. And
Matt, they also they didn't have the foresight because then you draft McDonald.
Yeah, but
And I don't think that the Jets should get rid of like Bryce Huff is probably a better player and a more impactful player than JFM. But where if you get rid of John Franklin Myers and you use Huff and Will McDonald in that role, does that work? It doesn't really make sense. They're not interior players.
it doesn't work. I see what you're saying. I just wish they did Huff earlier, and I think there's like a 10% chance Huff is back, like that low, because they're gonna use that
Yeah.
money elsewhere and pray that Will McDonald can get 6-7 sacks next year and not fill everything that Huff did, but fill enough of a void where you feel pretty good about adding to a different position outside of edge.
Yes. Yeah. You probably have to. Just the roster management. They shouldn't have drafted McDonald. Although they wouldn't have drafted McDonald if they knew how good Huff was going to be. It's hard to fault him for that, but he was on the team. Could have known. And you're going to have to. You need 3 starting offensive linemen. One's going to come in the draft. You need 2 backup offensive line. Like you need to spend that money on that.
Yeah, I wish it happened earlier. I wish they got him.
The
But
only Matt, once the NFL came out and said that they're increasing the salary cap as much as they did, what was it, 15, 20 million?
yeah,
Gives more of a chance, I think, that Huff comes back. Because maybe that's just that money. Or was it more? Was it 30 million?
I think it was 25 around
25?
there.
So
Yeah.
look, maybe the Jets had no plans to re-sign Huff, and they're like, hey, we have an extra 25 mil sitting around. Woody Johnson's like, fuck, I want to go make pharmaceuticals with this 25 mil, but instead,
I mean, it's always baked in. I think they had it probably baked in for 18, 19. It was probably
it's probably an extra couple. That's
like
thought.
10, 20% more than they thought.
Yeah.
Reaction if Ridley goes elsewhere and the Jets are stuck with MVS. Look, like I like the idea. Like if you give me Smith or Ridley, like I'd take the tackle. Like I would just do it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Like-
100% agreed. So
Yeah.
I was talking about this with a couple of buddies last night, and I think the wide receiver position is a little. It's less of a need than I originally had thought, and this is why if the one main issue is if Garrett Wilson gets hurt, you're fucked if you don't get a real guy like a Calvin Ridley. But if you guarantee me Garrett Wilson plays 15 to 17 games, I'm not so concerned with who wide receiver 2 is when Rodgers playing, because you're going to get a guy, you're going to get a dude, and I hope it's a little bit better than Marquez Valdez-Scantling. But if you have Garrett Wilson and whoever and Lazard and decent tight end play, probably more than decent tight end play, and Breece Hall and a really good offensive line, I think you're going to be a very, very good offense.
Yeah, I think Lazard's automatically penciled into wide receiver 3, like automatically. Yeah. You assume his production goes up with Rodgers. Was he terrible this year? Yes.
Yes.
They like Gibson. They like better. Brownlee as like the 5-6 depth guys, right? So I love the idea of getting a guy like Ridley. Like you're gonna pay him a ton, and you probably got to give him like 3 years, maybe like 58 million, if not more. Like I don't know what it is, but Mike, if you get him. If Garrett goes down, your offense doesn't die. Like if
that's the thing, you have to have depth.
But even if everyone's healthy, you just have 2 guys that are in their prime, like truly in their prime receivers. And Calvin Ridley has a year less wear and tear on his body by being out for the entire year too. So 2 guys in their age 24 and age 27 season. But
Matt, if you told me Calvin Ridley or top guard, because whoever it is, Ridley's probably gonna get more money than the number 1 guard. I'd rather have the guard and Tyron Smith and another guy, like a really good swing tackle. That's what I'd rather have, honestly. And it's close. Maybe you draft a guy as receiver in the 4th round, it turns into a maniac with Rodgers, like Puka, like last year. Like there's more of a chance that you get Puka in the 5th round, I think, Definitely. As a receiver than a really good offensive lineman.
Definitely.
So I'm not going to be completely devastated if they don't give Calvin Ridley $22 million or whatever the fuck he's going to get.
Yeah, quick question here. Olu Fashanu or Talise Fuaga? I go Olu.
You're the draft.
Shanu, whatever you want to call it. I give me the guy that every ranking, 9 out of 10 rankings have him ahead of Fuaga. So I'm not going to break down hand placement. I'm not going to break down
Yeah.
their first step. Like that's not. If you want that, go to a good podcast. Don't go to someone that pretends to know it.
Hopefully Joe Alt does meth on camera because now weed is legal, so we need more. We need more. Jets could take him in the third round.
What is your opinion on best option for quarterback 2?
Mine's Jimmy G. Number 1 option, Jimmy G. Number 1, number 2 option, Jimmy G.
We talked about it a lot.
You
talked about it a lot. I would go Jimmy G.
Yeah.
It is so. And again,
winner.
the first thing you'll hear is look at his numbers last year. Like they're comparable to Zach Wilson. And like look at the numbers the past 5 years before that. Like it is a perfect fit. Truly a perfect fit.
Yep.
In my opinion, for this team.
I agree.
All right, we're done with the replies to my tweet. Mike, I'm going to go over to your tweet.
I called
if you want to pull them up.
Yeah, let me pull them up, dude. You're always asking all the questions. I feel I got to ask you some questions. I'll prompt you. I promise I know how to use Twitter. Let's see. I remember Nicole asked who's a better cook between me and you. It's got to be you. Like you kind of know how to cook some food. I saw you made a grilled cheese quesadilla.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm unbelievable at making grilled cheese. Like I'm not trying to. It's not even doing a bit here. Like I'll make one and people will be like, "That was crazy." Like I don't know what it is. Medium to low temp, golden crust. I made a burger tonight. I can make. I'm definitely ahead of you because you live in the city. You probably DoorDash 21 times a week.
It's bad.
3 per day.
Wow, I probably don't even eat that much food, but yeah, dude, yeah, it's tough out here.
I'd go me.
I definitely would go you. Yeah,
Nicole's hilarious on Twitter. By the
oh,
way.
she's been great. Especially the funniest thing ever was when the report that Woody was like reading people's tweets. Drew from Jersey was like, it's like Nicole thinks that Rodgers is hot. Like I don't even know what it was. It was hilarious.
That was great. And then Spyro Kush, he always has like I'll be scrolling. It's like 11:15 on a Tuesday. He's like, I'm gonna put my wife through the mattress when she gets home. Like,
oh, it's so good. Fuck. All right, here we go. Here's another one. Oh, we actually just talked about this. The Buffalo Jet fan. If the Jets only signed one pricey free agent, would you rather be Michael Onwenu, the guard from the Patriots, who is the top price guard, or Calvin Ridley? So
Patriots took like the 5th round, and what was annoying about that? Maybe even I think it was day 3.
Yeah.
And what was annoying about that? After like 2 games, they're like, "Oh, he's like really fucking good," and it was like well known throughout the league that he was like an unbelievable pick through like the first 2 games of his career.
There's been so many Patriots offensive linemen too. Like Trent Brown's another one who left New England and like was worse, and then went back to New England and left again and was fine. But just I don't know. I don't trust it. But I said before I'd rather have just build a wall up front, and then Rodgers will figure it out. It's not like the Jets don't have any weapons.
Yep, good question by our guy Buffalo Jet fan. I would take Ridley over in this scenario instead of Tyron Smith. It's different if it's Tyron Smith. I would take Ridley in this scenario, and I draft tackle at 10, and you fill 2 warts with 2 premium guys, and then you have to carry on, find another tackle, get a guard. Like it's not as easy.
In your scenario, you just need one more guard, so you're in a pretty good spot. So I don't hate that at all. Either way, I think you're in a pretty good spot, and hopefully the Jets can land a couple of these like high profile guys. I always forget there's other teams that are trying to sign dudes. It's annoying.
That is. I always forget that. Fuck.
Oh, here's Jets West. Would you rather sign Jamal Adams to a $100 million contract or have Zach Wilson start a win and they're in game? Now, Matt, we have almost nearly had experience with both of these scenarios. Zach Wilson has started multiple must-win games, literally must-win games. And the Jets could have signed Jamal Adams like a $90 million contract and didn't. So
this is terrible. I would probably I'd flip a coin with Zach Wilson because Jamal Adams, I hate him. And if you give him $100 million at this age and you give him 55,
is it like 1 year? Is it 1 year, $100 million?
I would just pray that the defense wins like a 13-10 game. I
Yeah.
just think that the Jamal Adams thing would cripple
That
you
actually
forever.
was the Jets' plan, and like these actual winning in games is insane. Like that's what they tried to do in 2022 against the Jaguars, against the Lions, against the
Dude,
Seahawks. Well,
it's
Seahawks they had to start Mike White, who is literally had 5 broken ribs.
dude, the Lions game,
Ugh.
like, it wasn't a good game, but then they get a return for a touchdown.
Yep.
But I wasn't like I could live with Zach Wilson being a backup in 2023 after the Lions game.
No, he
The
wasn't so
Jaguars
horrible in that
game,
game. Yeah.
the Jaguars game like broke me. And we weren't Zach Wilson fans anyway, but it made me not hate the guy. The guy's like Zach Wilson's, it seems like a cool dude. I think the stuff with the media was like overblown. I think he was fine here personality wise. It made me like hate him as a player more than any player I ever hated before after that Jaguars game.
Because he wasted the season for us.
I had COVID during that game, and I was just in like a fever dream in my bed.
Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, brutal.
Football. Yeah, that was it was supposed to be a monsoon, so I didn't go to the game. I think Quinn
had a huge fumble sack on the first drive.
Yep, Jets can't move. I think they had negative yards, kicked a field goal, and then that was it. Then they lost 19-3. Chris Trevler came in. That's
Uzomah play.
Oh yeah, Uzomah could have just had an walk-in touchdown, but Chris Trevler threw the ball in his leg.
What else we got?
Ugh, garbage. Okay, RJ in Atlanta, frequent commenter. Good follow. Did Mike Evans sign that deal with Tampa Bay? So when he forces himself out of Tampa Bay's, let's see. Oh, here we go. All right, this is a long paragraph. Let me break it down. So he's basically saying, did Mike Evans sign the deal in Tampa Bay so that when he forces himself out of Tampa Bay, the contract is already in place when he gets here? A little bit of next level thinking from RJ in Atlanta.
It's like taxes, like the tax purpose.
Yeah, literally, he said sunshine year round, no state taxes, and retiring with one uniform and walking to the Hall of Fame. I don't know. That's kind of the point. I feel like that would be the reason for him to stay there.
Yeah, the Mike Evans dream's dead. It's deader than dead.
I'm happy. I don't want to give him $25 million either. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we move on.
Yeah, $25 million is like a crazy amount of money. That's what Justin Jefferson wanted. What, $30 million? Someone else, 20 Super Brees Bowl 24. I like that little like 2024 Super Bowl, but he put Brees in the middle of it. Is his name? Are you happy our front office isn't interested in Jamal? I sure the hell am, with a plethora of emojis, mostly laughing. Yeah.
Yeah. It would not be fun. It would not be a fun reunion. And he really does want to come back, which is Mike, here's a scenario. It's not we are great at bad analogies on the show. This might be a good analogy. It's like you get a bad breakup.
Yeah.
And you're upset, not upset at the time, like not a good, it just didn't go well. But maybe you met someone through that person, which is AVT Garrett Wilson.
Maybe two men. Yeah. Two large men.
I don't know if we're on the same analogy. I think we're off.
No. This is great. It's good.
So you're with the girl.
Yeah.
You meet someone through her, twins.
Yeah.
Two girls. And then you end up being in a polygamy relationship with those two girls, which is AVT and Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
And then Jamal Adams like, wait, can I come back? Like, we're good over here. Yeah. Is that a good analogy or not? I'm trying to.
We don't want
it work?
Dude, and we realized at the time his true colors. Yeah, we're like, good riddance. Then years later, he wants to come back after you predicted it on Twitter 3 years ago. You got to find that tweet, by the way.
I tweeted the other day.
Oh,
the problem is we sign him when we win the 2024 Super Bowl or 2023. So I kind of was off on that.
Damn, that's not your fault. Rodgers Achilles tour.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This is a good one, which hopefully doesn't happen. Who is the player nobody is talking about that the Jets will inevitably pick at 10 from Jack Pisani? Just no fucking weird shit from Joe Douglas here, dude. Can we just be normal? And like, is he going to pick the receiver?
you can't take a quarterback. You physically
You can't do
cannot
it. You cannot
take
do
a
it. Rogers
quarterback.
would. I would leave if I was Rogers. I would be like, dude, I rehabbed my Achilles for this.
I would the name.
So some of the guys that are linked to the Jets, Brock Bowers, all the tackles. That's it. That's all that's been linked to us.
Yeah, like,
Anybody else?
but on paper, you would think J.C. Latham would get brought up more, right? The Bama tackle.
Yeah.
He's like the fifth guy. Even like Troy Fountain, Darius Mims has been thrown in there a bit.
Yeah.
But like the J.C. Latham comp is interesting because I watched a lot of the Michigan Bama. Like we watched all the game, but I was looking at J.C. Latham a lot, and he keeps getting. There was 2 plays he got blown up, and he gave a sack in like the second quarter.
Yeah, right at the end, right? The last
Final
play.
play of the game, he got blown up, and I think that those 2 plays like swayed the opinion of like a ton of Jet fans, and they're like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
can't do it." And I think that's a little like aggressive, where like maybe Olu and Alt are gone, and Douglas like I can take one of these 2 guys, and he likes Latham more. Like that scenario could happen. I think.
Yeah. No, dude, that's fine. I think anything that's not any of the tackles or maybe Brock Bowers, any other person that they draft will be like this scenario. Like what are we doing?
Yeah, you think like Neighbors is gone, and Marvin Harrison Jr. are gone. Like in this scenario,
Any other receiver will be in like I
like
wouldn't do
Brian
it.
Thomas Jr. would be like, that is fucking shocking that they did that. Now they're
Yeah.
picking 17, and they sign Tyron Smith in free agency. Maybe Brian Thomas Jr. is a perfect fit at 17. Like
Sure.
it just we don't. That's an alternate reality.
Or you trade down, figure something
Yeah.
out. How about this? Preferred draft order by position, which is what we just talked about. Let's. I mean, I would just go offensive tackle.
Yeah,
I don't really see a world. I mean, but the problem is if you take Bowers, I get it. If you think he's going to be an immediate absolute stud, it's got to be Matt this year. He has to be a top 5 tight end in the league if you're going to take him seriously, or top 10. Really like because who are the top 10 tight ends? Once you get past 5, it's not that.
He's like not even a tight end though. That's the thing. Like he is, but he isn't. Like he's actually like insane with the ball in his hand, and you just need to get him the ball, and you can play him out. He's also like not a traditional tight end. So Mike, I don't want Brock Bowers. Like
I don't
on
want that
record,
either, I don't think. Yeah.
and it's not because of the player. Like he could come in, and I'll be happy. Like if they draft him at 10, I'm not gonna be like, what the fuck? Like I would be like, holy shit, they better have a plan at tackle and wide receiver too. And if they do, then I'm all in on the pick. But Mike,
and we'll have more clarity, Matt, because
Yeah.
the draft is after free agency, so we'll know a little more.
if Kyle Pitts is like a top 5 tight end, like say he became a top 5 tight end immediately, like
Yeah.
maybe the Bowers pick looks different. Like maybe
Well, it's interesting. It is funny too because Kyle Pitts did have 1,000 yards his first year, and only had like 1 touchdown.
Mhm.
Which is a weird year, and then he has had a very odd 2 years since then. So I mean, it probably would have helped Bowers' chances to go higher if that guy, if Pitts played better. I'm not. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it, but I get it. Brees, Garrett, Bowers mold into those old. I've tweeted about this before. Those old Cowboys teams where you had either DeMarco Murray or Zeke,
Yeah.
Des Bryant and Jason Witten, build a nice offensive line in front of them. But you got to also build offensive line. So,
Mike, I saw one question that was replied to you. I do have to bounce.
let's go.
Beyonce's mom is coming over. The
does
question
that
that really jumped out to me is
Beyonce's
my fiance's mom.
They said Beyonce's mom is coming over. It's like Miss Knowles is coming to your house. Holy shit! I swear to God. Oh man. Yeah.
What is the worst case scenario where JD and Salah come back or still come back?
Oh. Man.
My answer is immediate. The worst case scenario that they do come back.
Oh, you go 0-17? Like, I don't know.
No, I think it means like what would be your floor to bring them back?
Yeah, I think if you go 10-7 and miss the playoffs, I could understand bringing them back because that's not their fault. You went 10-7. It depends how
Yeah,
if they were 10-2 and you lose 5 horrible games, blah blah
that's
blah. But
different.
like if you play a normal season and you go 10-7 and people play well, you know,
Yeah, I was,
that's a successful. You go 3 games over 500. It's a successful season to me in the NFL.
but like when the Colts lost to was it the Jaguar game
The
in like
Texans.
2022?
Oh yeah yeah. So they were 9-6. Oh no, there must have been 18 games, 17 games. They were
That
not.
year,
That's what it was. They were 9-7, and they lost to go 9-8, and they got rid of Carson Wentz and fired Frank Reich. That's
but
what
like
happened.
Mike, I'm in the boat. Like you just have to be a top 7 AFC team, and my bare minimum is a wild card loss. Like yeah, if you make the playoffs and lose the first round, I can have you back. I even if they go 10-7, Mike, and they kind of flip the curve and they get unlucky with seeding, whatever, you weren't good enough to make the playoffs, and you are now a combined 10 years combined in the organization, and you
I
can't do it.
I also don't want. I want Rodgers to play 4 years. Is Rodgers going to leave? Like I don't know. Maybe that will make Rodgers want to stay more if you get rid of these guys, right? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Um.
But
Yeah, Mike. I don't know what I'm going to name the podcast or YouTube video, and don't know what the graphic is going to be. So if you think of something next hour,
I have one more question.
yeah.
Last one. This is a good one. I forgot someone DM'd this to me. This guy Jake. The biggest regret of the Joe Douglas era, excluding drafting Zach. Biggest regret. I know what mine is.
Okay.
I
Can I
think
give
it's
you a few rapid fire
yeah.
from
There's a
tomorrow?
bunch, but there's one that really stands out to me that I can never get over. That kills me.
I mean, I think yours is going to be not getting a veteran quarterback this
Yep.
year.
Yep. Can never understand it. Wasted the season of a top 5 defense for no reason.
I really wonder what everything looks like after 2020 if he either traded for Trent Williams and drafted CeeDee Lamb or drafted Wirfs and made like a different move. Like what's the domino effect after that? Not saying that's like I take not getting a backup quarterback in 2023 way worse than that because we like Becton. He was good his rookie year.
Yeah.
But like what happens if Wirfs is the pick there? And not to like what if a million things, but like 2020 and 2021 aren't just bad drafts. They're like historically bad.
Yeah.
Like unthinkable bad. And if 2022 was just a good draft, not an amazing draft, which it was, like Joe Douglas is known for having then one good trade ever. Like even the Blake Cashman trade that we celebrated, like Blake Cashman ended up being
Really
pretty
good now.
good and healthy, right?
Yeah.
So
It's hilarious. I forgot about that.
I don't know.
He's a free agent too.
The Herndon trade's hilarious. He got Herndon for what, like a 4th round pick, and Herndon had like 8 catches for the Vikings. Like that.
And then
That's pretty crazy.
he traded like LDT to the Chiefs, and then just they cut him and he just signed him back. Or no, I don't know if it was the Chiefs, but
It's like the Aroldis Chapman. Didn't the Yankees do that with Chapman?
yes, they traded him to the Cubs for Gleyber Torres and then re-signed him. Dude, but the because Darnold I'm sorry, not keeping Darnold and trading back in the 2021 draft always kills me. But it's not like Sam has been lighting the world on fire since then, so it's hard to really die on that hill. But not getting a veteran quarterback last year, good God.
Yeah. We're in a group chat with me, you, your dad, and Tommy.
Yeah.
I'm very critical of Joe Douglas and said a lot of mean things about him.
Yeah, he has time though. One more year.
One more. All right, buddy. Thanks for joining. 40-minute ep.
Nice.
Very good. Anything else before we leave?
Gotta subscribe, like us.
Comment. Do that.
Thanks for the questions. They're very good questions. I hope everyone watches that.
I forgot to shout out the people on my Twitter replies that did it. So I'll do a
It's pretty
better
fucked
job
up.
of that.
Maybe next time they'll answer my tweet instead of yours. So.
Yeah. All right. See you, buddy.